we are going to discuss +1 English. Here, the first topic that is entitled as His First Flight by Liam O'Flaherty. The main character of this story is young seagull. We can go through the first passage of the story. The young seagull was alone in his sledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of the sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. This is the first passage. The first passage says that the young seagull was alone on his ledge. There is a seagull is alone that was alone the day before. Both his sisters and his brothers, they had already flown from near to him. At the same time, they had already flown from him, but unfortunately, the young seagull couldn't fly with them. Why? Because of its afraid, because of its fearful. That is the only reason why the young seagull couldn't run away with them. See? And after that, that young seagull is tried to fly 2 more times, but that has failed. Because of this fear, that's the only reason why it couldn't fly. See, at the same time, he felt that is his set never support him because of its hungry. He ran away back a little hole under the ledge, and he tried again to fly once again, but he couldn't fly. And after that, anyway, he spent there and he just slept at night on that ledge. This is the first passage. I think all of you got the idea. That is the main character. I told you that the main character is the young seagull. The young seagull couldn't fly with its brothers and sisters. Why? Because it's fearful. That is afraid. That's the only reason why he couldn't fly. Anyway, that night he spent alone on that ledge. Okay, that's the first passage. See the second one. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to that plunge which appeared to him too desperate. His father and mother had come around calling to him shrilly, scolding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. Second passage says that here his sisters and parents, they again give the courage. At the same time, he tried to flap his wings, but unfortunately the young seagull couldn't fly. he failed to muster up. Muster up means to collect the courage for what? To take plunge and appeared him so desperate, but he couldn't fly. At the same time, he also appeared that is so desperate. Disappointment he feels. His father and his mother, they had come. After that, they also threatening him. They scolded him shrilly and threatening to him for what? To fly away from that sledge. They scolded him. They tried to just fly away from that place, that sledge. But for the life him, he could not move. But because of the only fearful moments, because of the only fearful feelings in his mind, he couldn't move. He had a fear in his mind. That's the only reason why he couldn't move. Okay, this is the second passage. So here we can see second passage. His brothers and sisters, they had already flown away from him. And his father, his sister, they had come and they scolded him, threatening him, and also give the courage. But unfortunately, he couldn't fly from there. Because of the fear. That's the only reason why he couldn't fly away from that sledge. See? There, at the same time, we can see he just muster up, that is, collect some energy, then courage, and also. But he couldn't. Because of the only reason, that is, we can see the fearful. That's the only reason, the afraid. Okay. That is the second passage. Then third one, see. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting them in art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and tower it, standing on a rock, while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, laughing at his cowardice. See, this is the third passage. The third passage says that, you see, now he was alone on that sledge 24 hours ago. Okay, 24, that is a day is passed. After that, since then nobody had near come to him. His mother, his father or sisters and brothers, they never come near to him. At the same time, the day before, his parents and his brothers and sisters, they just flying before him that he just had seen before the day. The perfecting them in the art of flight, he couldn't fly. He don't know how to fly from there. Because the only reason that is he had no courage to fly from that sledge. That is the only reason why that young seagull couldn't fly from there. See? And after that, they teaching them how to skim and the waves, how to dive for fish. And the same time, in fact, the scene, the older brother catches fish, herring, the David. Okay, and also its parents teach the young seagull, that is, how to dive a fish, how to fly, lead towards friend. They just learn them. At the same time, he just watching what his brothers and sisters do. He just closely watch these things. At the same time, older brother is catch his first herring, the David. Okay, at the same time, his older brother is catch a fish from the sea. That also he just watched it. Okay, and at the same time the family members of him, they are around that older brother and upload him by making the sound cackle. Cackle means the happiest moments making by the birds. Like this. Okay, like the sound makes. Okay, the happiest moments. At the same time, the morning, family is bugged about the plateau and the opposite of the cliff, the mountain, and also that members of his family looking at him, and also they make at him because of his cowardice. Cowardice. He had a fearful bird. He couldn't fly from one place to another. He couldn't fly from there. By looking this, they all are laughing at him because of his cowardice, because he had a fear. That's the only reason why. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing warmly on his sledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Then he had found a dried piece of mackerel's tail at the far end of his sledge. Now there was not a single scrap of food left. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough, dirt-caked straw nest where he had his brothers and sister had been hatched. He even gnawed at the dried piece of eggshell. It was like eating a part of himself. This is the fourth passage. Now the sun is setting in the sky, and the glazing of that warm on his sledge, he also faced, can see in the south. He felt heat because of he had not eaten the previous nightfall. He couldn't eat anything at all because from the previous day he couldn't eat anything at all. Okay, then he had found that piece of mackerel fish's tail. He just watched there close near to him, and simple scrap of food left. He had searched every inch. Okay, he just searched everywhere a piece of food. Okay, but he couldn't find. And at the same time, dirt-caked straw nest, he had brothers and sister had been hatched. He gnawed the dried piece of eggshell. It was like an eating of part of himself. He just watched everywhere, but he couldn't find a piece of food. At the same time, his brothers and they all are just been hatched some piece of food. Okay, himself, and he searched everywhere. The setting of the sun in the evening time. This is the just idea about this 4 passages. The remaining passages of this story we can continue in the next class. Stay safe, stay at home, have a nice day. Thank you.